Rakath. This guy dropped down in front of you. Unarmored gnome.
They have a weapon out?
They do. They bring out a sword that kind of like flicks and extends quite a bit.
You know, I've been told that those aren't really swords.
And I'm going to... Where did he drop down?
Pretty much right, you know, theater of the mind, right in front of you and Voss. This is a fairly small space.
Okay.
Within, you know, like a step.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so he's being threatened by Voss is what I'm asking. Like, he's being... Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's... Anyways, I'm going to attack with my Wakizashi first.
Doing so non-lethally?
The intention is all non-lethal damage, by the way.
Okay.
But that is non-lethal sneak attack damage on this one.
Give me the hit.
It's...
Oh, he doesn't immediately go down from that, which is pretty impressive. You know, he's unarmored. He kind of almost braces for the attack, but there's no armor there, so he just gets striked.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna hopefully smack him with the dagger as well, which I think that's a hit. Without sneak attack this time. And again, non-lethally, trying to just bonk him in the head with it, hoping he goes down, but assuming he doesn't.
He doesn't. He shakes it off Voss.
I'm gonna non-lethally try to ruin this man's whole career.
That is a hit.
Copy that.
He is ruined. He is
very unconscious.
He's just unconscious in the mud, down and out. An exercise in futility. I mean, I knew that.
Are we gonna kidnap a gnome?
We're not kidnapping, we are capturing someone who attacked us with a bomb.
Correct.
So we're gonna leave him here, or are we gonna take him somewhere else?
We're gonna take him somewhere else.
Okay.
Where are you gonna take him?
We're kidnapping a gnome.
Should we go to the morgue?
Oh, good.
Because then when you're done with them, we won't have far to go. I'm just gonna start tying.
When we're done with it, you can show that the soul really does exist.
I mean, she just has to look at Abby and she'll know.
I feel like she will be terrified of Abby.
Brophy nods.
Rakath also nuzzles Abby and says, "But you're adorable, aren't you?"
No.
So you tie him up. You go over to the morgue. You walk through the middle of paradise with.
I actually have him in. I have him in manacles. He's not tied up. I have him in manacles.
Okay.
And I'm standing him up and walking him. Well, like even if he's unconscious, I'm still making it look like he's walking.
I feel like it's disrespectful. I'm just gonna grab him by the manacles and start dragging him behind me.
That's less. That's actually less offensive somehow. Okay. You do so. You definitely get some looks and some comments. Go down to the morgue. Slap this guy on the table. Miss Ocelot.
Hello, Miss Ocelot.
Excuse me? Don't tell me that you brought me another dead assassin.
No, this man did try to blow us up with a bomb, though.
He says with of wood in his cheek. He just pulls out the wood from the steel.
This one is very much still alive. Yeah.
Yes. I'm
What
wondering...
about us, though?
No, Azit Enclave, I believe.
That would explain quite the effort that's gone on to conserve good musculature and bone structure.
Yes, he does have good bone structure, although less so now that he's crumpled. So, would it be all right if we set up in a little corner here and had a nice conversation with him? I have a little bit of questioning to do. There might be a mess.
That's fine.
There might be a little bit of a mess. I will clean up after.
As you should.
Of course. I just wanted to let you know as a professional courtesy that there may be a mess, but I will clean it up. And thank you again. It's an absolute pleasure to see you again. I love your outfit so much. I know I said that last time, but it is a delightful outfit.
You put down the gnome in a chair.
Yes.
Tie him to it, me assumes.
Yep, and actually manacle one of his hands to the chair. Do I have a second set of manacles? I did for a while. Might have used the second
If
one.
not, you can just straight up fucking nail his hand to the chair like last time.
I could do that. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I could probably make some manacles. Temporary manacles.
I'm worried about you making something that's meant to capture people that's a temporary item. For some reason, that is...
It lasts an hour.
I mean, I don't need an hour to torture somebody. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna spike his hand to the chair.
That has it handheld object or tool. Would that count?
You could make something to bind someone with.
That's manacle-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Okay,
holding a hand to a chair.
Boop.
Yeah, I guess glue isn't a handheld tool though.
I make some manacles.
Okay.
Zip tie him to the chair.
Nice. Like that. I want to take his blade away as well and
I
give that to
assumed you-
Rofi.
Yeah.
Specifically giving it to Rofi though, because it seems like his jam.
Rofi's in the background just like... chink.
He's doing the thing with an umbrella, like where you
Yeah.
just constantly make the umbrella go up. Okay.
You know what he's doing? He's doing when you had those plastic lightsabers that extend. He's
Yeah.
doing that over and over again. Shah!
I gotcha.
At this
going-
point, the gnome actually starts coming to. Kind of a bit before, quite early actually, based on your usual waiting for people to come back to consciousness.
Yes.
He quite quickly seems to figure out what's going on. His eyes glancing around the room.
Hello. My name is Rakath. I am, as I said, here to do business, not stabbing. But if you require me to do stabbing in order to do business, that is okay as well. It is something I am quite good at. What
I
is your
didn't
name?
think anything of your kind could do any sort of business.
What is your name?
Telling my name to you or your...
A name. I don't care if it's yours.
I'm from Azet.
Okay, as it is then. Well, as it. Since you are therefore representing your entire peoples, I suggest that you act in accordance with that, and perhaps represent yourself with honor and dignity. So, first of all, I'm aware that you don't really like my people. I don't know my people, I've never met them, so I don't really know if I like my people either. So, let's move on from that, because that doesn't fucking matter. What does matter is why the hell did you blow up the product that you were bringing to Narashiro? That's incredibly stupid of you, and you're going to be in trouble for that, I'm sure.
An acceptable sacrifice.
Is it? For someone who is trying to do business with you? Is that really how you want the Azad Enclave to appear? That they're so unwilling to do business with someone who has explicitly stated on 4 separate occasions that they want to do business with you, and instead of doing business, you would decide to blow them up and instead attack.
You think
be
this
around for the
crystal...
fatty part?
You think this crystal is so rare
No,
that...
I don't think it's rare, but I
we
still
would
think that
worry.
it's... And therefore it is worth something. And as it is worth something, you blew up money.
And?
And I'm sorry, I thought you were a businessman.
No, you are mistaken.
Well, then I have absolutely no use for you.
Very well.
At this point, I'm just gonna usher Yuna like to the other room.
I'm gonna give the gnome a hug and be like, let me know if you need to suck a soul out of his body.
I will let you know, Yuna, thank
And then the
you.
usher, I'll pat him on the head.
Let's go get some tea.
There's a sort of a noise that kind of rumbles outside the room of the clanking of armor, and he smiles and says, I'm not the only one of my clan here. You will find yourselves nursing broken bones in moments.
Have you considered that I just want to do business with you? And you are being quite obstinate to that.
What business do you want then?
Very simply, we're trying to understand and get involved in the trade into Narashiro. You see, we have many deep connections in Narashiro, and with the particular activities that are going on now, which are seizure and destruction of product, we have a means and a method to avoid that. We have a way to stop them from seizing goods. That is why we sought you out. Very specifically, we have many connections, and those connections allow us to do things that others cannot. We were coming here with a proposition for you, but as you said, you're not a businessman. So, I suppose you can't help me with that.
You can give me an intimidation roll. You can also give me an insight roll if you want.
Can you roll it with advantage with the threat of me so I can console out?
It will be considered.
22 on intimidation. I will roll insight as well, which is 19.
It's quite clear that this guy is not in charge of this. This is, as you know, the Enclave is a more militant one, and in the sign of trouble, he has gone to fighting. He's not in charge of those kind of business decisions. In fact, you know that it's usually female gnomes who are in charge of that kind of thing. He never would have anything involved with that kind of thing. He's really just doing his job, which at this point, death is kind of slightly more honorable than failure. But he does say that you can talk to... You can go to the Enclave and you can make these discussions yourself. Why did you go to all of this trouble to meet someone who did not know you were coming? While you look like the enemy. Both kinds of enemy.
Well, that's very concerning. You didn't know we were coming.
Because you made no attempt to contact. You do realize that business does not happen people stumbling into a tavern to give some kind of mission. It's not how the world works.
Let me tell you. We actually did try to make contact, but there was a raid at a very particular facility.
If it was in Narashiro, you would be quite mistaken to think that has any connection to the Enclave, despite we sailed to them.
It's more just a sale, but what we tried to do is we tried to discuss with them. Apparently, they had at least one connection with your people, and that was through delivery. We were trying to meet for delivery, for that delivery. They told us to go here, and that they would notify you. But they apparently did not, which is concerning. There was a raid shortly after that, so I suspect that they were killed before they could send the message.
Well, that would explain it then. You might want to send messages yourself in the future.
Yes, well, as you probably aren't aware because you're not a businessman, you don't often send messages yourself. You send someone who is already familiar with the business. Otherwise, shit like this can happen, where someone thinks that you're an enemy.
I don't think there's any reason to swear.
There is. Because you tried to blow me up and you blew up a beetle. It was very rude.
Simple creature.
Beetles are friends. Very simply put, they do work for you. And they do it without harming you or without aggression towards you.
If you have this sort of vegan mentality, then perhaps getting into Aether Crystal trade is not the correct mentality.
I quite enjoy meat.
If you want to know all you want to know, then you merely will you would best talk to the mistress of Azit. You can go to the Enclave. You say quite loudly that you are there to talk. You will most likely have your weapons and all taken from you for the safety of everyone involved. And that is the way things work. It's very rare, but I'm sure they'll see that you're Cause is just, I suppose.
May I ask, do you often do delivery?
When required.
Because that was strategy, what you did with the explosion. That isn't just a delivery. That is someone who actually has a strategic background in the military. Now, I understand that you are a military enclave, but that doesn't mean that every delivery boy is going to have that level of strategy. So,
There's a very loud goose
this
outside the morgue.
very strange.
I think you're mistaken. Everyone in Azit is trained in such things. But
Do you like Traitor's Run?
we don't have that much time for games.
Well, it's a military strategy game. You might be good at it.
I suppose.
Well, you said you're not the only one of your kind here. So, where are they?
In wait. If you decide to strike me down, then you will find yourself in quite a predicament.
Oh, I'm not planning on striking you down. You seem like a lovely gentleman who was just spooked.
there's kind of like gnomish eyes are quite cat-like. They kind of like narrow for a moment, then stretch, like you actually kind of like hit a bit. Not kind of he kind of like almost like shamed him with that. They kind of like hit him a little bit.
Yeah. Look,
very
sometimes
accurate.
psychological torture is the best way
Yes,
to
no, very accurate.
And I'm actually going to pull up another chair and sit directly across from him and just say,
So lying in wait, are they in the room right now?
I don't know exactly where they would be. And if I told you, that would be a failure. Unless I told you false information so that your
Right.
samurai would move into an inopportune defensive position.
Now you're playing Traitor's Run.
If
I'm
you are
just saying
truly
it's-
interested in business, perhaps untying me from this table would be most appropriate. I do apologize for my violence, but you understand that Drow and Fomorian working together proves a very definite threat to Azit.
I actually don't speak for Fomorians in any way. As I mentioned, I've never known my people.
I assumed you were a runt of a litter or a
No.
child.
I am, I don't know what I am. Half
Kinda-
at least.
Like, stares at you a bit, trying to basically rolling his own insight.
Uh-huh. If you know, since you're familiar with the Fomorians, I would certainly appreciate the information.
and I say that as I undo the manacle on the chair, still holding his hand there.
Fair.
Yeah.
If we come to a good arrangement, I can send a message with magic to my enclave. My prayers will be heard, that you wish to talk. Perhaps it would be most appropriate for talks to be done here.
Neutral
Maybe-
territory,
That will be up to the mistress.
of course. I think that's agreeable. In the meantime, would you like to play a game of Traitor's Run? I can teach you.
I suppose that would be appropriate.
I just want to see if he's gonna jump me as soon as. Handcuff.
He doesn't.
I rolled insight on him before I did it, just to be clear, just to make sure that.
Yeah,
It's...
he isn't. He like you said, spooked, and quite appropriately so, apparently. But you've kind of calmed him down, and he's willing to talk for now.
Well, then in that case, I will turn and say,
Thank you. By the way, Miss Ocelot, for your hospitality. I believe we'll vacate your area here so to not cause any further disruption to your work. And no mess today. It's a good
Quite
day.
disappointing. I was hoping to see more of your skill, but I'm sure there will be more people stumbling their way into my morgue, waiting to become dead bodies.
Ah, yes. Well, in this instance, this man decided to see reason, and I can appreciate that. But, as I said, you're of course always welcome back in Narashiro. I would be happy to show you my work there. There's never any shortage of friends for me to encounter.
You head out?
I'm gonna guide him up to the main floor of the casino. I don't know where Voss and Yuno went and got tea, so.
We were in like the adjacent room.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I would.
Still, like in the morgue. I imagine like where the other dead bodies are.
Just taking a short little rest.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Gives him back his sword. I like it. Good design.
He would
Can we
take
get
it.
the benefits of a short rest?
Yes. You wouldn't join Rakath immediately. That did not take an hour. But yes, if you want to take a short rest, you can.
Well, I think actually what I'd do is I would bring him to them and we'd all sit and I would invite him to sit with us, drink tea, and play Trader's Run with him, as in
Okay.
invite him to also take a short rest.
He would sit. He would not accept the tea. He mutters a kind of gnomish prayer. He will actually check his pockets quite definitely and seem a little relieved by whatever he still has on him. And will try Trader's Run. He actually seems to understand the rules, at least in passing. Like, you know, before, like he's probably played it before. And he nearly rolled a 19, but it rolled into a 1. So you win quite exceptionally, and that's fine.
Well, I'm also, like, the idea is to try and guide and teach him, and I will actually roll it just in case I roll in that one as well, and this teaching is terrible. Which it was almost.
And he will, you know, say that this is a game of military strategy, perhaps more strategy appropriate for your city, if it really is as tall as it has been said. But
It's still good to know territories like that and understand that a game played on a vertical plane is just as important to understand the strategies as on a horizontal plane.
absolutely. Absolutely. Battles are not on flat ground. More often
No,
than
as
not.
we saw today, you were up in the rafters, and that would have been a vertical strategy. And that is what I mean by when I say you would actually be quite good at this game. I think if you really delve into this strategy, I think you could really do quite well.
My people are not one for illusions like many of our kind, and some think that games are a more material form of illusion. But there is some purpose to this one.
This one I find very useful for learning strategy. And I must say, Voss has taught me much about the military aspects of strategy rather than the personal aspects of strategy, because I'm quite good with the one-on-one, but when it comes to scale, this game is actually a very good teacher for that, and so is Voss. If you're ever in Narashiro and feel like it might be a good opportunity to learn from someone who has a very different perspective on you in terms of military strategy, he might be the one to do so, and he actually has a school at the House of Dusk. If you're interested. It's
It is
possible that
exceedingly
you might
unlikely
be
I will
some
be traveling
interest.
into your city.
It is.
But I will keep that in mind.
It's not impossible, though.
Nothing
And
is
besides-
impossible.
Who knows? As I say, we have means and connections. We might be able to get you in. If you wanted to do a guest lesson for our learners.
I am not a paladin who could teach the young yet.
Not yet. But one day, I'm sure.
Short rest. Achieved. Bonfire lit. What do you
I'm
guys want to
going
do?
to encode thoughts. In part because I want Rakath to see the embarrassing moment of that one gnome.
The stable.
It's actually kind of like traumatic. Like when you put it out in moment, like it's embarrassing, but like the moments, like, you know, he's like kind of joyriding with some beetles and like the land swallows them up because it's all unstable. and he just about survives, and like he nearly loses a friend as well. Like it's pretty bad.
But I'm also going to include at the very end of the reel, right there. Like, do you want me to try to prod his thoughts? Speaking of this gnome.
Good question.
He won't know surface. He will know deeper. And that's something that Rakath knows, just as a reminder.
Yeah. Not for now. Perhaps later.
You guys want to see the traumatic moment?
Ooh,
Yes. The people, yeah.
I'll play it for the rest of the party.
Fair enough.
Oh, no.
What a usage of a spell.
We can get like a wheel
fantastic! I love it.
that will read the film and then project it so we can all see it at once. Rofi?
I hope you cut off
Get
the
on
end
that.
of that if that's the case.
Yeah. You'll see
Interesting.
boss like face palming. Like,
Encode thoughts into a projector. Interesting.
And that's how we do our film about proving that unicorns exist.
It's
an
definitely
absolute
plausible.
boon to joyride such creatures.
I mean, can you blame him though?
Yes.
The people of this enclave are obsessed with joy and pleasures of the flesh, which leads them to do quite foolish things. I find them quite disagreeable, and as does my tribe, but it is a prime place to meet those who should be met.
Yes.
Who should be met?
People you are doing business with.
Oh, okay.
People who are selling useful resources.
Speaking of useful resources, what is your take on, well, those who follow the blue-eyed goddess?
I do not know of a blue-eyed goddess. I know of a red-eyed god. We do not follow them. And you actually will take out a D8. With 4 different coloured, very carefully cut gems on it. It's a bit bigger than this. One's black, one's red, one would be green, and one would be kind of clearish, whitish. And so this is how we communicate with our gods. There is no blue.
Interesting.
Couldn't that just be random chance? Sorry if that's offensive.
That is
You're
not
literally rolling a
offensive.
die.
That is very appropriate. We do not believe in miracles. We think miracles are foolish. But the gods, they can affect the world in smaller ways, in chance. We believe that some things are left to chance, some things are left to the gods. And our gods speak to us in the rolling of the dice. It's a good question. Very appropriate. That's a question that all children should ask their trainer.
Not a child.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to insinuate that you were a child. I mean, when we are being taught as a child, we should ask that question. That's quite important.
I see.
Just out of curiosity, what did your gods say about us, if anything?
I did not get time to roll.
I'm so sorry. I know.
And I am not the best at deciphering what the answer says, either. Our mistress is very good at this. That is why she is in charge.
That makes sense.
I
Yuna
think
is
I
quite
could use
good
a die.
at discerning things like that as well, which is why she's in charge.
Right, but they see the future, and that's not necessarily fate. It's just a fact.
What is the difference?
What is the difference?
I think there's a lot more interpretation with fate. For example, like I can give you a clear-cut answer, whether or not something will turn out or not. Either yes or no, or...
There would some people who would say that you would be blessed, but we don't believe in such things.
Interesting.
I would be happy to tell your fortune, if you have a question you want answered.
Am I going to die by your hands?
Sorry, clarification question. Are you asking by Yuna's hand or by our hands?
The collective.
It's really more... You ask me about a train of, like action that you're going to be taking, and I tell you whether or not it's going to work out for you or not.
I would like to know if this is going to go well for me.
Agree. I'll roll his die.
Yes! Yeah. It would land on black, which makes him smile, because that seems to be the good response for them. Which would be, you know, a result of wheel, of good, which also means now you can use gnomish prayer dice if you wish to do so.
Very cool.
But that makes him. He relaxes a bit. He was, you know when you're like at a gathering and you're relaxed, but
Yeah.
not. He actually does relax a lot more at that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing to tell me your name now?
My name is Tien.
Tien. As I said before, my name is Rakath, but it's very nice to meet you, Tien.
I will be yet to decide that, but considering you showed great mercy when it was almost inappropriate to do so, I suppose it is only up to the gods whether that is good or bad to be weighed upon your death. For me, it is quite good.
Certainly. And we'll see if it is for me. And no, Yuna, I don't want to know ahead of time.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
You don't have to know. I'll make sure things will go well for us. Don't worry.
Okay.
Alrighty, what are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, now that we've completed a short rest and made a bonfire in the morgue, you know, I want to find out if there are more Azet guards just hanging out outside of the morgue.
You go and look around and you don't see any.
That doesn't help. They could be invisible.
Oh, yeah. Rofi just walks around like this.
Because, like, outside of the morgue is a nice flower emplacement, a nice flower bed. Rofi's, like, stomping around in it.
No, Rofi, don't step on the flower beds. Just... it's too late. Okay.
You see, like, across the way on the other side of the statue, a gardener be like... And start running over.
Sorry! He's not good at social things.
It's just ground. Why would you... I don't understand.
It's a garden. It's used specifically to grow things. And if you step on the things, it can stop the things from growing.
But none of these are useful.
You say that, and the gardener, like, nearly falls over in shock.
Rofi, they are useful in the sense that people gain pleasure from them, from smelling them, from looking at them.
Tien is just shaking his head, and,
that
will
is
clear his throat.
Yeah.
There may not be anyone else from Azet here. I may have used the slightest bit of magic I had available to make it seem as such.
Ah!
Oh.
So you can stop stomping on the garden, Rofi.
You can
Sorry.
continue.
I also
have
could
no
have just,
bearing if-
searched for ambient thoughts that don't have a body.
Yes.
Just for future reference, we're not stomping on flowers.
Yes. The gardener is very mad.
That's gnomish. It's a very gnomish swear word.
Yes.
Got an episode of SpongeBob.
Well, as there's no one else here, and you reached out and let them know that we would be coming, correct?
I have not done that yet. That would be a prayer that would require some preparation.
Do you need to have a nap before you do so?
He looks at you like you're a crazy person.
I don't know how magic works.
I will need
just
chalk, charcoal, some gem dust, paper.
that kind of preparation. All right.
And we'll...
Well, we might know someone who might be able to direct us to getting all of those things.
And I want to go find Hal.
Yep. Hal is on shift in the casino. You go through the casino and Tien's face is dour. Gnomes are very expressive, and he looks like Grumpy Cat right now. He does not like the casino and its color and lights and energy. But you find Hal.
Would you like to feel the sensations? Maybe if you felt their joy, you would feel better. I'm not gonna.
This is some empathy. That is. He's. His eyes go like very wide, wide pupils. He just kind of starts laughing. Because, you know, there's a lot of people laughing and drinking and playing things like that, and he's kind of like stunned, standing in the middle of like a thoroughfare through the casino, like giggling and experience everything.
I'm gonna grab his hand and skip with him.
He, feeding off your joy, is very happy. Hal looks at this and says, I assume you found your man and made friends with him.
Yes. I don't know what's happening here.
That is, well, I can see what is happening here. Conversion.
Yes.
Seeing the right way to see the world.
What we need, How, is actually, unfortunately, he appears to be quite under the influence. But, we require some material components for a spell for him to make contact for us to continue to do the business we need to do.
I'm very surprised that you did not murder him.
I don't like to murder people.
I'm sorry. Conversion to undercommon. I do not know what would be a more appropriate word. Kill? Eviscerate? Vivisect?
Vivisect, I like. That's at least a medical term. But regardless,
If you do find a phrasing that would be most pleasing to you, do let me know.
I will do that. I mean, I don't really like kill, because I try not to kill people. They just happen to die.
I thought when a lot of you wandered in with your varied states and the great strength of your samurai, that you were mercenaries who would kill those who oppose you. You hear many stories, and some of them are quite grand, of mercenaries, especially samurai, who march into a settlement and they strike down their opponents without mercy. But you show quite a lot of mercy, which is incredibly curious, but I find quite pleasing.
I'm glad you find it pleasing. If there's anything I can do to make your experience here more pleasing, how please do let me. I'm sure that Voss might be able to help with that.
You were asking about components. I suppose you will want chalk, charcoal, papers, gemstone dust, perhaps?
I believe that's exactly what he asked for. That's incredible. You don't read minds, do you, Hal?
He sidles up. It's like, one faith's all the same as the others.
I understand.
We
Can
gnomes
you say that around? I get quite angry about it.
Well, the thing is, with we gnomes, we don't believe that Polita is a divine entity who is going to take judgment, or a ancient elf who turned into a spider who is watching over all of you. We don't believe that, and you are entirely okay to believe this. But we, it's a way to live. It's not heresy to live another way. Even as it, I hope do not think that.
He seems to be enjoying himself.
That brings me great joy. Please wait here. I will get you the things that you need.
Oh, thank you very much, Hal. It's very kind.
He will go off and do that.
I'm going to double check with the burrito stand to make sure. Sending a burrito to Hal.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Back.
He comes back with like a small bundle.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Do we owe you anything for that?
Are you going to be doing business here in the future if this all goes well?
I certainly hope so.
Well, then it is a business investment, is it not?
I suppose it is.
You'll be staying here, you'll be buying drinks. As it will be staying here, you'll be buying drinks, you'll be gambling, you'll be having great and wonderful times and making brilliant memories. Quite an investment.
That's true. By the way, I met Nit, who was one of the men here. I believe he was
He
confirming
believes
whether or
that
not
you
we
guys are cheating.
How could we do that? We've already been
Well,
talked to
you've
several times
been
about
on
that.
quite the winning streak, and then you deliberately lost a game? It was very suspicious to lose a game right after a winning streak.
Yes, but I actually just lost that one. And I'm kind of mad about it still. Look, Traitor's Run is very much my game. I love that game. It's something that I do very well at. That's why I only play that game and not others. Because I would lose horribly at other games. Have you seen me at the card tables? Let me tell you, it's an embarrassment. But Nit was very kind and very nice. I just wanted to pass on that word.
In the Southern Casino, they're a little bit more strict about such things, and that's why they're not quite as pleasing as visiting here.
I understand. Well, Hal, you've been an absolute delight again. I'll make sure to send a Voss your way later. And turn around and walk away.
Go over. Tien will come back to his senses, a little humbled. It's like, yes, well, I suppose I can understand why some people would enjoy gambling, even if it is quite irresponsible to be using the Enclave's gold in such a way. Oh, no, that's coming from their own purse. They have so much wealth, the people here.
I know. It's very strange.
In the Enclaves, it's all the wealth of the Enclave, at least in ours, to be shared out when appropriate. Everyone does their part. It stops working once you have layabouts and lazy folk, but they can be disciplined into being productive.
That makes sense. I mean, I suppose it's more difficult for layabouts and lazy folk because often layabouts and lazy folk aren't actually layabouts and lazy folk. They just don't happen to do well in the work that
you
is
find work
normal.
that's more appropriate to them, and plus our Enclave is not the largest in all of the Underrealm. Everyone needs to work, otherwise we won't be able to make as much as we wish to.
Right.
And if someone is not able to look well into crystal or craft anything, then they can always hold a shield.
That is true. The other thing that they could really potentially do, but unfortunately your Enclave doesn't really have the value of this, is they could create art or write music if that's where their town is.
There's always value to high quality craft.
Right. But it depends what kind of craft. At least in certain social views, right? They might be very good at doing something that doesn't hold the value that you might expect. Those people, might I suggest, would be excellent diplomats if you can research other societies correctly. if you do the research, those people might have the exact insight that they need in order to discuss with other societies on the level that they require.
That's... I mean, this is the talent that you have been using. You've been understanding people to be able to talk to them better. I suppose I understand that.
It is something that I most likely would not have had the opportunity to do unless I was given the same hospitality that I was by Yuna here and her family.
You are their ward.
I am.
Is that the materials I'll be needing?
Yes.
He will go over to a table, start, basically just inscribing these. It's almost somewhere between writing down in a spell book and writing down scripture and hymns, all in Gnomish. And will kind of mutter very quietly to himself while he does it. When the spell is finished, there's like a very brief glow of a kind of silvery, kind of a more gunmetal kind of color, actually, that comes from the symbols that he's drawn very briefly and then kind of fades away. And says the message has been sent. We'll know if I get a message back.
Excellent. What would you like to do in the meantime?
Not gamble. I suppose I will see about getting a new suit of armor and basic equipment for my stay here, if I am going to be staying here for quite some time. I do appreciate your mercy. And he will get up and walk away.
Now, Yuna.
Oh, alright. Got it. Check
That's
that.
worrying. Now.
Just surface level.
Oh, on him?
Should I just do surface level?
I mean, for now, yeah.
Okay.
Is on him?
It wasn't
as well?
clear.
Go deeper?
He does know if I go deeper.
Yeah. So I think your surface level.
On Tien.
Yeah.
He's not messing you around. He does seem... It's like taking, an Amish guy and putting him in the middle of, Comic-Con or something. Like, it's really...
Drunk tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's gonna be drunk gambler tomorrow.
Because you've just shown him via sense emotions a very different way of seeing the world. He seems a little more preoccupied with that, like trying to process that in his head. He did send, the message that you sort of think he was meant to send. One of trade and diplomacy. But
Gonna give you a thumbs up. And I'm gonna take him over to the bar area. And have him do a shot with me.
Tien, he's like, oh no,
Yeah, my new little gnome friend.
Alcohol is not is meant for after a grand battle, and
I mean, I'll sure can do mine, and so he can feel the drunkenness off of me, I imagine.
yeah, he's like, he'll do it. You convince a gnome to drink.
Ropey's joining.
Hey! Asleep for the danger, awake for the drunk.
Oh, Ropey.
Alright, so I suppose oh, that's a great idea. He rolls he rolls a 4. he also gets drunk very quickly. You guys are hanging out at the bar, even a few more drinks, and he
I love this stuff.
hammered. It's so like we have a holy wine back at the Enclave. This not for drinking like this. This is meant for after a battle. I just lost a battle. I shouldn't be drinking.
That's when you should be drinking.
I feel much better about it to drink with my enemies who are now my friends. Damn. What are you guys doing? Are you just gonna, you know, hang out for a
I
little?
mean, like, yeah.
Just general.
Just
general debauchery.
hang out in paradise.
Yeah.
Hey.
At some point, I'd like to talk to Voss.
While they're drinking,
I mean,
go
Yeah.
and talk to Voss. In the background, you see them taking shots every now and again.
So, Voss, I hope you don't mind that I pitched the House of Dusk to him.
Oh, why would I mind? If he actually took you up on that offer, he would either prove himself to be useful, or he would merely be killed. There are only two real paths for a warrior.
It's true. I suppose more what I'm saying is that I am not leadership in the House of Dusk, so I don't want to necessarily do recruiting for you unless you'd like me to.
You can send anyone you wish my way.
Okay, I
And
will
the
make sure.
trials will determine whether or not they belong as part of the house.
You know, I think Hal might have some trials for you later.
I doubt there is any trial Hal could put me through that I would not be cut out for.
I agree. But you do know he wants to sleep with you, yes?
As you explained to me earlier, yes.
And what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that are that Hal is a very kind man, a pleasant one even, not one that I'm romantically interested in.
You don't have to be romantically interested in somebody to sleep with them, Voss.
Perhaps you don't.
I can't sleep with anybody.
I guess not in the God-fearing sense of the word, no.
No, in no sense of the word. I find it very disconcerting to be sleeping next to somebody.
That's fair. I find it very disconcerting to be sleeping at all.
That is also fair. You know, I think more what I'm wondering is, what are you interested in? Because I'm not necessarily just saying romantically. Because you are someone who so easily conceals everything that they're feeling. But not anger.
That is simply the nature of a samurai of House Nor, is to devoid yourself of most things until there is nothing left to distract you from what has been placed before you.
But you know as well as I do that that's not entirely possible. You have feelings, you have emotions, you just don't show them.
I believe it might be possible. I simply have not fully attained the enlightenment that I may have sought at one time.
You came from somewhere off in the distance. An area outside of town. Solitude, right? You came from
true.
Solitude. And you sought enlightenment there. You didn't find it?
Found traces of it, but I have yet to fully actualize those thoughts and ideas into practice. The place I came from is one outside the city, not a place you would have seen. I keep nestled into the mountain overlooking a dark lake, place where my family houses our secrets, and as well as our training methods, which are very unlike the drow of today. There's a place I would very much like to show you at some point.
I would be absolutely happy to see it. Perhaps enlightenment may come from sharing it with those you are able to be close with.
This is
Yuna,
possible.
myself, even Rofi a little bit. You've got to admit, you do treat him a little bit like your child.
That is merely to avoid suspicion. However, I do have to admit, when he does certain things, it reminds me of my nephew, which I do find somewhat endearing.
Someone just lost a traitor's run. Well, I have to admit, I've grown fond of him as well. I think, he's different. And that's coming from me. But, I think he's really grown into himself a little bit more here. Before, he used to just be an extension of... he just used to be an extension of Tanuma, which... sorry, still sad about that a little bit, but... No. He's grown into himself. I think he's really gotten himself his own identity, and I think that that's good. But we do treat him like a child, which I don't think is irresponsible, given his current state.
To be completely honest...
Yeah, meanwhile, Yuna's getting trashed with him at the bar.
Right? To be completely honest, I sometimes forget that he is, in fact, not a very young drow. And I just gesture over him, like, just look at him go.
He's going quite hard. Also, Tien is going quite hard as well. I wasn't expecting that.
It's the impression he has never drank casually before.
I think that might also be the case, yes.
There's nothing casual about this.
At some point, Rofi is on, like, the backpack is on the ground and he's stuck like a turtle.
Oh no! It's Tien.
Rakath does not help him up.
No!
More drink is
More
good.
drink!
It's fine.
What drinks? Tip him
I'm
into
gonna
his
start
mouth.
swapping it out for water.
Yeah.
By the way, when he's not looking.
He won't notice. It's got
No.
a terrible perception.
Voss, I would love to go and see your home sometime. I think that could be quite fun.
Well, perhaps when we're done with this ordeal, we can...
It sounds like we might have to go to my former home. I assume where my former home was is where the other lumpy folk live.
So it would seem.
That's what people keep telling me, but I don't know, so I can't guarantee it.
Well, perhaps when the rest of our new friends, allies arrive, you can speak with them.
Well, that's if they come that way. We might have to go out to them, but we'll see. But
Will.
I think we have much to learn. Is your family's training method, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's not so much one method as it is many, many different methods employed in such a way as to separate the chaff from the rest, as it were,
Ah, so what you're doing with the trials at the House of Dusk.
essentially.
And who adjudicates that?
It depends on those in training, but typically another member of my family. For me, for example, it was my aunt. Who's very skilled.
Noted. I'm going to go see if Yuna will let me play some more Trader's Run with some of our money.
I'm sure. I'm sure that won't be an issue.
All right, and this is a perfect place to take a little breaky brew. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Bam, bam.